Hi, and welcome to our debate about applied behavior analysis and autism in pop culture. My name is Emma Parker, and I will be your introducer. Emily will be your pros supporter. Donnie will be your rebuttal and cons. And Sarah will be your closer. Before we get started, we wanted to show you a quick video that showcases autism and applied behavior analysis in pop culture currently.
Healing and preventing autism
at times. The two do all kinds of exercises supported by applied behavior analysis, or ABA.
I believe I've isolated the algorithm for making friends.
The diagnosis was autism.
It's terrifying to think that your child has this curable disorder.
We went through speech therapy, physical therapy, developmental therapy, occupational therapy. Therapists came to the home.
So, are you embarrassed by your brother?
In the first year of life for chronic ear infections, that's a really good sign to start to delay vaccines.
A yoga therapy program called Get Ready to Learn.
I wish I had a sister without autism.
Since I rarely hug, I'm relying on your expertise regarding duration.
Promote a cure. The research does promote effectiveness.
Laura Kaspar created the Gemini videos after her twins were diagnosed with autism.
10-year-old David's autism is heartbreaking for his older brother.
Oh no! I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
It's happening.
I was reading this book for Max. I'm reading it for the kid, and then all of a sudden, I'm not reading about the kid anymore. I'm reading about me.
Autism is the fastest growing developmental disability in America, increasing.
You're very proud of your autism.
Healing and preventing autism
at times.
Okay. I currently live and work in Cleveland, Ohio, and I am a dance movement therapist for a company called Dancing Wheels Company and School. And we go into the school systems to do in- and outreach programs where we work with students who have behavioral issues, cognitive or physical disabilities, and we bring together music, movement, and social awareness in a program usually lasting about 13 weeks. And at the end of each 13-week program, we produce a show for parents, family members, peers that is usually themed around a central idea of social awareness, change in behavior, and positive outcomes for all the students involved. We work with a wide range of disabilities, including autism, and we like to promote that movement is a communication that has no boundaries. So nonverbal and verbal students are welcome in what we do. So for our debate, we are going to discuss the positive and negatives of autism and applied behavior analysis as an intervention in pop culture. The prevalence of autism spectrum disorder and technology are both on the rise currently in our society. And according to the Center for Disease Control in 2014, 1 in every 68 children was diagnosed with autism. In a Pew Research study survey conducted among 24,300 people in 24 emerging and developing economies and countries from March to May 2013, 21 of the 24 countries were daily technology users. Not only were they technology users for entertainment purposes, but also for information findings and current pop culture situations and information. The portrayal of disabilities in popular culture has been reported, exploited, and praised throughout all facets of media. Inflation of autism spectrum disorder in the media and pop culture can be attributed to the ease of technology access now, celebrity spokespeople, entertainment portrayals such as movies like what you saw in our video, magazine articles, news outlets, and literature, and the abundance of this information surrounding ASD in these outlets can be argued as negative or positive effects on the family members, the individuals diagnosed, and the supporters surrounding those diagnoses. This can also have effect on the stereotypes created around autism and ABA. Disabilities, particularly ASD, and its interventions in pop culture can be seen also throughout history and how pop culture and the media have affected it in history. They have presented misinformation about ABA in news, and in 1982 there was the appointment of a public information officer by the American Psychological Association Division 25 for an experimental analysis of behavior. And this position was appointed for only one person, but to help battle the information that was being shared through the media and pop culture outlets. And today we can still find issues with that because it was only appointed to one person. The positive arguments that you're going to hear from Emily will begin with the abundant amount of information that is easily accessible for families and individuals diagnosed with ASD. It will also support the education and the treatments and the interventions. Individuals with ASD, their families, educators, and others can easily gain this information at the tips of their fingers rather than word of mouth because of pop culture and this technology prevalence. The negative argument that you're going to hear from Donnie will begin with the need to tend to society's fascination with the disability or different connotation that comes with what we see in pop culture, but it will leave out personal or experiential considerations like the viewpoint of the person with the disability. And that was discussed in a study by Holton in 2013. There's also popular culture that can skew the image of disabilities in the lack of evidence-based knowledge about the diagnosis or treatments. In news, media has linked behaviorism to psychosurgery, drug treatment, and even Nazi Germany. Entertainment media has also presented inaccurate details about behavior analysis in such movies like what you saw in our video, Clockwork Orange, and What's Eating Gilbert Grape, as well as celebrities speaking on or for ASD and interventions such as ABA surrounding it. There's even a current game, Trivial Pursuit, that includes a question that states who invented the box that psychologists use to shock rats. So that already starts out with a negative connotation about an intervention for psychology and cognitive disabilities. So in this argument, we will examine how accurate the information is and who is presenting it for ABA, for individuals with ASD, and what the effects are from pop culture in this particular treatment, and is the use of behavioral analytical principles in pop culture an opportunity to promote the field, or does it hurt the reputation of ABA?
Hi guys, my name is Emily. I work as a behavioral therapist at an autism clinic for children with autism diagnoses. I will be the supporter for the pros argument of having ABA represented within pop culture. To start off, pro number one of having ABA in pop culture is the fact that this spreads awareness. When media covers celebrities and people of authority speaking out about autism and ABA, this in turn spreads awareness about the field. Temple Grandin, a prominent advocate within the autistic community, has spoken out about her diagnosis multiple times within interviews and within literature. This brings positive attention and awareness to the autism community, which indirectly brings attention to applied behavior analysis as well. She speaks out from her personal perspective regarding her own diagnosis. Other people who see and hear her who see and hear her speaking out, who are also living with diagnoses themselves, can relate to what she's saying. It takes a lot of courage for a celebrity or a person of authority to speak out about a diagnosis in front of the world. And people understand this, and in turn are willing to learn more about the disorder and the treatment options that accompany it. In addition to celebrities, political figures also can bring positive attention to autism and ABA. I'm going to pull up some information on the Lieutenant Governor of Michigan. His daughter is actually diagnosed as an autism diagnosis, and he has spoken out to the community in which he lives multiple times and he's leading an autism insurance reform, which mandated for insurance to cover behavioral therapies within the state. So him speaking out to the community brings attention to autism in the field of ABA and provides people with information that they may have not known prior. In addition, when facts are shared from behavior analysts or other professionals in the field, when they're interviewed in magazines and newspapers, they give research-based facts about ABA. This is not falsified information. It's coming from the people that work in the field and do the research. Research has proven to be one of the most has proven ABA to be one of the most effective treatments for individuals with autism. Therefore, behavior analysts and other professionals in the field should be getting interviewed and getting this information out there to the public and spreading this awareness about ABA. Therefore, it needs to be in the media so that people can be informed.
Hi, my name is Donnie Jellison. I'm a board-certified assistant behavior analyst. I design and implement ABA programs for individuals with autism. I will be handling the rebuttals and cons of ABA in popular culture. So let's start with media coverage. Media coverage could be useful in spreading awareness about ABA and autism, but it could also be very harmful. The media news tends to cover bad events and harmful events, and that for the field of ABA can be bad publicity that, rather than spread awareness, has the opposite effect where it turns people off from ABA and autism therapies. The next point to consider is celebrities don't always provide the most accurate information, and they have a lot of influence over therapy. So I think of Jenny McCarthy and her influence on autism therapy, but some of the information she's presented has been very misguiding. She started with being pro anti-vaccinations, no vaccinated kid causes autism, but later recanted and came back saying you should vaccinate your children. So things like this can be very detrimental to ABA and popular culture because parents are very misinformed already by celebrities. And also we should consider the fact that being in part of popular culture means ABA will be associated with other autism therapies, so any negative connotations from those other therapies could have adverse effects on ABA and help diminish our ability to promote the use of ABA within popular culture.
Okay, an additional pro regarding ABA being represented within pop culture is the fact that this helps gain support. In a study by Schreck et al., researchers state that non-scientific therapies such as music therapy and different diets that people have tried are currently receive more support. This is potentially due to the fact that 80% of autism-related materials within the media is related to these therapies. So researchers are thinking that families are potentially choosing therapies based on what they're seeing being represented within the media. And as of right now, non-scientific therapies are receiving most of the coverage. Therefore, this is why it's crucial that ABA be represented in the media so that, in turn, they'll gain more support. parents are always interested in what's being talked about. Therefore, reporters and journalists need to cover ABA so that parents are made aware of what it is and what it has to offer. Parents of children with autism are usually more than willing to try to do whatever they need to help their child. So if it's out there, they're willing to try, especially if there's scientific support to back it up, which ABA possesses. And ABA is also an option for a treatment option for parents who are wanting to leave the medical model of autism treatment. In addition to this, another way for ABA to gain supporters through pop culture is by seeing success stories within the media. When success stories are covered within the media regarding individuals in ABA, others become intrigued and are more willing to try ABA principles. When people see success stories covered in the media, they become interested because there's proof of effectiveness within ABA, and they see this proof, and that spikes their interest. Another example of ABA within pop culture and a way that it can gain support is through social media on websites such as Facebook. Facebook is used by millions of people. Information is spread quickly over the internet. There's actually a link recently being spread among thousands of people on Facebook consisting of a petition. I'm going to put that petition up for you guys here. It was a petition for Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield to fully cover children in the state of Indiana receiving ABA services. The petition was written by a parent whose child is diagnosed with autism, and within the petition she speaks highly of the positive effects of ABA and how this therapy has changed her son's life. This petition was spread across thousands of people over Facebook to people who potentially had little knowledge of ABA prior to seeing the petition. And after reading the petition and signing it, they've gained an insight into the field regarding the effective changes that ABA produces and why it's so important that services be fully funded by insurance companies.
So entertainment and social media depictions are not often truly representative of autism. Characters portrayed in movies and TV are often portrayed in a stereotypical fashion, where they're engaging in behaviors like self-interest behavior or aggression, and not every child with autism has those same traits. The full range of the spectrum is not portrayed in movies and TV shows. We only see the most stereotypical behaviors. We don't see, like it said, the wide range of different behaviors and challenges. One example of this is a keyword search of people with autism on YouTube. So just searching that on YouTube, you can see that there are a lot of different results, but most of these results are going to display children with autism or individuals with autism in a very stereotypical fashion. So YouTube is full of videos of tantrums and outbursts by individuals and children with autism. You're not really going to see much variety in what is portrayed on YouTube about individuals with autism. Also, shows like Parenthood are also not really accurate in the representation of autism. These are actors portraying autistic individuals. They don't have the real life experience of someone who's autistic, and they cannot accurately portray them. And another point is that Facebook is often inaccurate in relaying information. There's a lot of inaccurate information in satirical posts on Facebook, so its validity really comes into question when we're regarding information found on Facebook.
Okay, a third pro regarding ABA being represented within pop culture is the fact that it can actually create changes within the government. Going back to Facebook, an extremely popular form of social media used by so many people in today's society, information's consistently being shared among different people. There was actually recently a letter to the senator, written by a parent in the state of Ohio, that was shared on Facebook. The mother was asking the senator to keep a bill passed that stated a child receives an increased amount of money, which follows the child to whichever education center of their choosing. The child receives an additional $7,000 to their autism scholarship, totaling in $27,000 for services. This letter was shared among thousands of people on Facebook, and it's just pretty powerful that she was able to use social media as an outlet to reach others in order to attempt to make a beneficial change within the state of Ohio for ABA-funded services.
So government changes are often very ambiguous and it's very slow. It takes a lot of time for a bill to gain support and for it to pass through the judicial system. And even still, when a bill does pass, it can often be very unclear and misinterpreted. So for example, here in the state I reside in, Indiana, we have a mandate that all insurance companies have to provide funding for ABA services for individuals with autism. But yet there is a lawsuit right now that's gained a lot of popularity through the media on how insurance, or on a lawsuit of the families requesting ABA therapy for a certain extent, and then the insurance company is cutting, what they're requesting. And so even though there's this mandate, it's still really hard to say or to clear up, how much therapy hours are appropriate. And so this can be really, a bad thing for having, not necessarily a bad thing, but government, the changes we see in government just aren't what we'd hope, and it takes a lot to get things through.
One final pro regarding ABA being represented within pop culture is the fact that it can help struggling families. Blogging is an extremely beneficial form of support for families. Living with a family member with a diagnosis is hard and can take a toll on family dynamics. Therefore, parents need a support system, and internet blogging from other parents with children with diagnoses as well is helpful to struggling parents. Parents coming from similar situations can help each other through tough times by offering suggestions, advice, and answering any questions regarding different treatments that parents have tried through internet blogging. So social media is a way for parents to reach out to each other and give support that is much needed within family dynamics of people that have members of their family with diagnoses.
Okay, my name is Sarah Leno. I work as a kindergarten teacher at a center for autism and other developmental disabilities. We offer educational classrooms ranging from early intervention up to 8th grade, and also offer a variety of therapies including speech, occupational, music, and physical therapy. I'm going to be presenting the closing arguments as well as summarizing both sides of this debate. So I'll start with the pros for ABA and autism being portrayed in pop culture. It helps to spread awareness about the disorder and its effective treatments. Celebrities have the ability to change what is considered to be interesting and important, and that can directly affect the way that others interpret and view both autism and applied behavior analysis. They can use this power not only to spread awareness and educate, but to guide those that are affected by autism towards helpful facts and away from the stereotypes and anxiety that this might cause. Temple Grandin, as Emily mentioned, is considered a celebrity not only in the field of ABA, but also in the growing culture of autism spectrum disorder, and she does this by educating about the disorder and effective treatment options available, and also giving others an optimistic outlook for their own futures because of how successful she has become living with a diagnosis. When popular figures speak out about their experiences and awareness of applied behavior analysis and autism, it gives individuals the confidence to speak out about their own experiences as well. So people of power who make a difference also include political figures. So as we've addressed by sharing the story about the Lieutenant Governor of Michigan, Not only did he use his influence to educate the people, but also to create change by leading the reform for insurance to cover behavioral therapies. Emily mentioned that there was also great potential in taking advantage of all of the knowledge and expertise that professionals in the field have to offer. So when applied behavior analysts are interviewed, they are able to relay the facts and evidence-based research that make these treatments so effective. So another pro that we discussed was gaining supporters. As of now, the media tends to cover the non-scientific therapies to treat autism. This might be because they appear to be more appealing and interesting to the public, but the families do tend to choose these therapies for their children. So the trust that the families put in these media sources in order to make the decisions really opens the doors for how applied behavior analysis can be positively portrayed if it's given equal coverage in the media. Supporters are also often gained through the success stories that are shown in social media that have some sort of connection to applied behavior analysis treatment. When success is found with a disorder that is often taxing on families, it's more likely that they're willing to go and seek similar results. Another pro is that social media outlets serve as a way for individuals who are directly affected by autism spectrum disorder to connect with others as well as create change. Sites such as Facebook, as we've mentioned, become a way for people to kind of take matters into their own hands. There was the example of the the Anthem petition to fully cover ABA services, and as well as the mothers in Ohio's letter to the senator to keep the changes to the Ohio Autism Scholarship. So social media has the ability to reach millions of people in a matter of seconds, which is what makes the spread of this information so valuable to the field of ABA. The last pro that Emily mentioned was the portrayal of ABA and how that affects people affected by autism spectrum disorder to feel supported. So blogs and social media outlets have become a way for families who are affected by the disorder to connect and speak with each other and offer guidance about effective treatments. It's also not only helped families, but also individuals diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder to feel as though they have a voice and express their experiences as far as effective applied behavior analysis treatments. So now getting into the cons, Donnie mentioned how media coverage can sometimes cause more harm than good, especially when applied behavior analysis or autism is portrayed in a negative light. This can happen when celebrities offer falsified information, and that can cause the opposite effect and be detrimental to the field's growth. So these negative views that are mistakenly associated with ABA can lead parents to be hesitant to seek treatment in this field. It was also mentioned how the entertainment seeks to fulfill the public's fascination with disabilities, and with this often comes an improper portrayal of autism spectrum disorder and ABA. Donnie mentioned the YouTube search, the keywords autism, and only the most severe and stereotypical behaviors popped up. And that might be because this is what people often associate autism with, or what they are most entertained by seeing. We also mentioned how entertainment relies on the stereotypes and secondary sources in order to create characters in TV shows and movies, and this can often cause unnecessary anxiety to parents who have children who are diagnosed rather than help to educate them. Facebook, while mentioned as a positive outlet for portraying ABA, can also at times be negative. That is because inaccurate facts about the field can be posted, since anyone is free to post information on the web. People who have come to trust these sources on social media are exposed to negative articles about ABA, and they might not always be aware that the information they are viewing is lacking supporting evidence. We also mentioned how the government has been making positive strides towards the field, but what happens is that it doesn't often result in permanent changes for everyone. As we mentioned with the Anthem lawsuit, there still seems to be holes in proper coverage of behavioral treatment that's provided by insurance. So after comparing the various pros and cons that come with ABA being portrayed in pop culture, we come to a conclusion that the only way to really convey the outstanding benefits that applied behavior analysis offers is to continue to be proactive in the way that it's represented. So as the diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder becomes more prevalent, so will the need for the valuable information regarding treatment. There's no question that parents are going to be turning to the media and the internet in order to seek this help. And if represented fairly and with facts, the field of ABA has the opportunity to flourish within pop culture's portrayal of this field.
Okay. Now we have some questions that we're going to answer about our debate. So the first question goes to Emily. Emily, how can parents be sure that the information they are receiving is evidence-based?
It's crucial for parents to research different treatments. Research is key. Parents can research these treatments on the internet. There's plenty of information out there regarding different treatments and the research behind them. They can also research different treatments by seeking out advice from professionals. Professionals are obviously trustworthy sources, so getting that information face-to-face regarding the different effectiveness levels of treatments from the people that work with the treatments on a daily basis is also advised.
Okay, the next question is for Donnie. Donnie, how can the healthcare system help protect and inform families?
So I think one thing that's going in ABA's favor for through healthcare is that the Surgeon General has backed ABA. That certainly helps to promote the field, but I think it's also important that they also identify important or effective strategies and harmful and ineffective strategies to keep people informed. Maybe that'll help the media to help maybe put their focus more on evidence-based practices and help relay more accurate information.
Okay. The next question is for Sarah. Oh no, I'm sorry, the next question is for me. My next question. Sorry. So my question is, how can we make scientific methods more exciting for pop culture and media to grab onto it? So like Emily and Sarah both mentioned, success stories are a really, really big positive support system for ABA and ASD and other types of interventions. And because we have such a prevalence of technology, we can create fun and exciting videos and stories, blogs, Facebook posts about the positive changes within ABA. So the negatives tend to be the thing that the news and the media grab onto, but as therapists we have to be proactive in representing ourselves in a positive and informed manner, but it has to be exciting so they grab onto it. So if we are proactive about that and use the technology access that we have so easily available, I think that they would be more apt to grab onto those success stories, which will help their audiences create empathy and curiosity about the interventions and the diagnosis surrounding autism spectrum disorder. Okay, now it's Sarah's question. Sarah, how can shows such as Parenthood support autism and its interventions such as ABA?
So, as we had mentioned, most of these shows, they tend to focus on the perspective of the family that's being affected by the disorder rather than the individual diagnosed themselves. So, the shows, they tend to create these characters that display like the most typical and extreme aspects of the disorder because that's what will grab the attention of the audience. And while it might not always be applicable, these shows should be seeking more personal experiences directly from the individuals living with the disorder whenever possible. This type of valuable guidance when writing a script or just even creating characters will paint a more accurate picture of autism spectrum disorder and effective treatments that come along with it, and provide factual information to those who are uneducated on the topic. And at the same time, they'll also be providing employment for those living with autism spectrum disorder, which is also important.
Okay, now I'm going to ask each of us the same question. So Emily, what have you personally been affected by in pop culture, and how relevant is it to your current job?
I actually first read about ABA in a magazine at an internship I had back in college. I hadn't heard of it prior to reading that article. It piqued my interest, and I ended up researching employment options within the field. And currently today, pop culture is relevant within my job because at my current place of employment, we actually use social media to spread awareness about our company and the services we have to offer. I can actually think of a couple of families that currently have children receiving therapy that found us through pop culture resources, so social media, etc. Therefore, pop culture is extremely relevant in my current place of work.
Okay, and the same question to Donnie.
So for me, I feel like in my discussions with colleagues, their information about ABA is they're often misinformed by media sources and entertainment sources. So I feel like I spend a lot of my time discussing with them the correct theories and correct information. So I feel like pop culture is important to our job, and that we should be seeking to make sure that it's relevant and correct when it promotes our field.
And Sarah?
Well, kind of going along with what Emily said, social media has just become such a large part of society and how people connect with each other. At my job, the center that I work for, Helping Hands Center for Special Needs, is a nonprofit organization. So we have a Facebook page that we use in order to promote places to donate or events that we have or walks for autism. There was one this past fall that we did, and we use this Facebook page to kind of show awareness and to get supporters and followers. And similar also to what Emily said, we've recruited a lot of families that end up coming to Helping Hands based on what they've found through social media on our page.
Okay. And lastly, myself. So currently I am, like I said, a dance movement therapist in Cleveland, and we do a lot of our work on a nonverbal basis. So it's really hard for parents to just hear about what we do, and social media and pop culture has played a huge role in helping them see and really witness how a dance movement session will go for all individuals, not just individuals with cognitive disabilities, but those with physical as well. And like both Emily and Sarah mentioned, that social media promotion and marketing has been a huge help, not only to bring children and parents to our center, but also for grant funding, as we are a non-for-profit. So by using technology to create fun and exciting videos about the positive changes that happen within our students, we can then put those on our Facebook page and tweet about them and put them on our websites to help grant funders see what we do as well. So it's not just all word of mouth, it's also observations. And YouTube and shows like So You Think You Can Dance have brought a huge following to just the dance world. And that's brought curiosity to all types of individuals, not just able-bodied dancers, but dancers of disabilities. They have curiosity, and then they see those shows, and then they start looking on the web for companies that can help their child or help themselves learn the technique that we prescribe. So it's been a huge positive change that we've seen really just in the last 5 years. And with that, we want to thank you guys for viewing our timed debate on ABA and autism in pop culture. We hope that we informed you a little bit more about the positives and negatives, and that we can all go out and be positive changes and positive promoters for interventions for autism and the diagnosis surrounding it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.